in these absolutely extraordinary times that we're facing. I hope your loved ones are keeping well and safe. I want to take this opportunity to also thank the GEMS group, especially Lena. We've got a great relationship between our two institutions, GEMS and AUD. Some of our brightest stars at the American University in Dubai are product of your schools. Plus, we also have a great relationship. You know, you don't have to come to AUD to really benefit from some of the services and things that we have on offer. So I think we've already collaborated with a number of your students on research projects and outreach and what have you, and they don't even attend AUD. So this is much more than, you know, you need to come to AUD. It's not about that. So thank you for setting this up. I welcome whoever's on the webinar with us this afternoon. It's really nice to be able to speak with you and engage with you. As Lena mentioned, hopefully this will be interactive. Feel free to chime in. You can unmute yourself, ask questions. You can write something on the chat bot, and I'll look out for things. But I must admit, I'm not a great multitasker, but I'll try and look out if you type anything. See, Mohammed has just joined us. So, ladies and gents, my name is Raj, R-A-J. I'm the Director of Student Recruitment at the American University in Dubai. What I wanted to do in these next 30, 40 minutes is speak to you really generally about university. Will I use AUD as an example? Sure. But my main objective here today is not to say, you know, I'd love for you to come to AUD and join AUD and be here because AUD is the best university and you must come here. That's absolutely not the goal or objective of this next 30, 40 minutes. What it is hopefully for you to recognize that choosing a university is one of the most important decisions you will make for a number of reasons. And that's some of the things that I'd like to discuss in the next half an hour or so. Also, at the back of your mind, please remember that there's no one university that's right for everybody. Elite universities, Ivy League universities, they're great universities, but they don't necessarily have to be the best university for everyone. You've got to realize what you are. You've got to be self-aware. You've got to know what makes you tick. You've got to realize what your passion is. You've got to understand what kind of an environment that you work in, or you know, gets the best out of you. You've also got to have a goal of where do I want to be. It's not just a case of pursuing any degree and then taking it from there, but where do you want to be? What does your future look like in 4 years, in 5 years, in 6 years, in 7 years, in 8 years? And then looking at that, looking at who you are, where you want to be, what suits you, what kind of learning suits you, what kind of an environment suits you, then these are decisions, or these are the basis of you could make a decision on what type of an institution would suit you. So what I've done here is I've kind of made this sort of AUD skewed, if you like, AUD specific, but at the back of your mind, or I will keep on adding things that you should look out for when you're choosing an institution. So first thing is you want your degree to mean something. You're going to be spending the best part of 4 years, maybe more, depending on the degree you pursue, really with a lot of hard work, a lot of smart work. You're going to be using a lot of resources, energy, and your parents' fees and money and so on. So you want this degree really to mean something. And there's different ways that degrees mean things. There's objective ways. This is where you look at an institution, and one of the first things you should be asking, and I'm not just saying this because AUD happens to be the most accredited university in this region, but you've got to join a university, or you have to join a university that is accredited. And if I speak through about the accreditations, you'll understand perhaps a little bit more of what I mean, why this is a necessity for you. let's use the example of the American University in Dubai. Institutionally, the American University in Dubai is accredited locally by the Ministry of Education. Now, this means several things. First of all, it means that AUD goes through a number of hoops where someone from outside, academics and people that have been in academia for a number of years, not related to AUD, will come in and examine the American University in Dubai, the programs, the faculty that are teaching in these programs, their credentials, where do they earn their degrees from? Do they have the necessary requisites, the experience and the skills to teach the courses that they're teaching? Your facilities, are they mapped out, or are they what they're supposed to be in terms of meeting your outcomes of every single course? And much more. Is it a safe environment, and various other things? Your administrators, are they qualified to advise you? So the American University in Dubai is accredited by the Ministry of Education. So one part of this is the quality check, which is really, really necessary. Another part of this is, let's go forward 4 years. You graduate from a university and you're going to now find a job. Or maybe you found a job in your last year or in your senior year at the American University in Dubai. After you finish with AUD, you need to come off our residence visa. So AUD will sponsor you, and you can go on AUD's visa for the 4 years that you're studying with us. But once you graduate, we have no business keeping you on our student visa. So you find a job, which 96.15% of our students do. Our graduate placement rate is 96.15%. When you find a job, the onus is now on the company that's hiring you to take you on their residence visa. Now, this is a process. It doesn't just happen. They will have some paperwork that they need to complete. Part of that paperwork requires them to have your degree validated and attested. That is something that the ministry needs to do. If your degree is stamped by the ministry, the paperwork is then processed and it goes through various departments, including the Ministry of Human Resources, and your visa process continues. Let's say you graduate from an institution that's not accredited by the Ministry of Education. Then your degree won't be stamped. If your degree is not stamped, there's a huge possibility that that could put a spanner in the works for the issuing of your visa, because the paperwork won't be stamped. That means your visa won't be approved, and if your visa is not approved, that means that the company that's offered you the job may well rescind the offer. So it's not just the quality side of things. There's also things that you've got to look forward to and look beyond the degree. Of course, we have a lot of institutions in the UAE that are not accredited by the Ministry of Education, and that's fine, because we have some fantastic sister campuses here. As I mentioned earlier, this is not about AUD. This is me trying to give you the best possible objective advice I can as you make one of the toughest decisions that you know, one of the crucial, well, certainly one of the most crucial decisions that you will make in your young life. There are a number of institutions here that are not accredited by the Ministry of Education. I'll name one, but this is not for any other thing other than just to give you an example. And this is a very fine university. It's the Harriet Watt University, based in Dubai International Academic City, which I also know the home campus in Scotland. It's a fantastic university. But Harriet Watt, at least for this time, have decided not to pursue Ministry of Education accreditation here in the UAE. So a lot of the students that go there may decide that, you know, they're going to be working for themselves, may decide that they're going to go overseas, perhaps to the UK or somewhere else, to pursue employment, and probably don't want their degree stamped by the ministry, and in other words, are not looking for a residence visa here beyond. And that's absolutely fine. So I started out again by saying this is not the decision for the next 2, 3, 4 years, but it's beyond that as well. So that's one category that you need to be aware of. So if you're thinking about staying in the UAE and working in the UAE beyond your bachelor's degree, please, I urge you to choose an institution that's accredited by the Ministry of Education, because this will make, one, of course, you're guaranteed of quality, and two, it will make your application process for residence visas and work permits and visas a lot smoother afterwards. Institutionally, the American University in Dubai is also accredited in the States, in the United States of America. Again, this is the hallmark of quality, but more than that, it's what we call regional accreditations. Regional accreditation in the United States is the highest form of accreditation you can get. Sometimes institutions play on words and they use the term that we are nationally accredited or our programs are recognized. Please be careful on the verbiage that is being used. If you're thinking of transferring to the US or Canada and you maybe want to do a year or two here and then move across, again, please look for an institution that is regionally accredited. If you're aiming high, if you're aiming for a regionally accredited university in the US, this is your Michigans, your Harvards, your Stanfords, your Minnesotas, your MITs, then you need to make sure that wherever you're earning your credits, they are at a regionally accredited university as well. The American University in Dubai is regionally accredited in the US. We're accredited, regionally accredited by the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, SACS for short. As I said, the importance of this is you might be looking to carry on your degree later on and then you want to transfer your credits. You might also be looking at pursuing a master's degree or a PhD later on in the US. You want to make sure that you've got a degree that they're going to recognize later on as well. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to chime in anytime. Otherwise, I'll just continue. As well as being regionally accredited, as well as being institutionally accredited by the Ministry of Education here in the UAE and SACS in the United States, each one of the American University in Dubai's degree programs also has professional licensure. So this is quality on top of quality, and not just any licensure. The business school, for example, the American University in Dubai offers a bachelor's degree in business administration with 6 majors. A business school is accredited by the AACSB. The AACSB is what you would call the gold leaf, the gold standard of business school accreditations. Only 5% of business schools worldwide have AACSB accreditation. The American University in Dubai's business school is in that 5%. Our engineering programs are ABET accredited. Our design programs, namely visual communication and interior design, are NASAD accredited. Our architecture program is NAB accredited. Our Bachelor of Information and Communication Studies is ACE-JMC accredited. I'm proud to say that our interior design program, as well as being NASAD accredited, is the only interior design program outside the United States of America that holds CEDA accreditation. So again, this is not for me to brag about AUD necessarily, but just to give you the importance of what accreditation means for you. As a recap, if you're looking to stay in the United Arab Emirates and you want to work in the UAE, look for an institution that's ministry accredited. If you're looking to go abroad, look for these professional licensures. If you're looking to go to the States, look for regional accreditation. Something else, when you're choosing your university, of course, look, there are several reasons you go to university. I mean, of course, it's the experience, it's the engagement, it's knowledge acquisition, it's networking. But as a parent myself, one of the first things I looked at when my daughter chose her university was looking at, what are the employability rates like? And this is important because you want to see what kind of reputation the university has, what are employers saying about the graduates that come out of that university. And Lena would probably smile when I say this, or I'm sure some of you students maybe have heard this as well. Universities, rightly, wrongly, whatever you want to say, but there's a perception among a number of people that work in industry that universities are blamed for being out of touch. You don't really prepare students for the workplace. You don't really make them ready for life to face issues. And there's many accusations that come our way. And the reasoning behind this is, you know, you in schools and universities, you're teaching students to pass tests. These are standardized tests that they take, and you're working towards making sure they pass those tests. And I'll tell you something, there's nothing standardized about what you work in the, you know, what you face in the workplace. It's flexible, it's agile, you have to pivot on your own feet sometimes. You go into work one day and you're asked to follow. You go in another day and you're asked to work on your own. Sometimes you're asked to work from home. Sometimes you're in the field. Sometimes you're in the office. There's various things that happen. Sometimes you just have to be resourceful, adaptable, think on your feet. And we're accused then of not preparing students for the workplace because we're teaching them to be standard in their thinking. So that's one of the accusations, if you like. I can tell you, by the way, if that's what you're looking for, a system that's standardized and the professor writes on the board and then you copy what's on the board and then the exam comes and then you have to regurgitate whatever's on that board. One, don't choose that type of a university, and two, AUD is not one of those universities. What we do here, and I'll speak about a little bit more about that in the next slide. It's very different to that. So look at universities that make you, that claim to make you, and they have the proof that make you life ready. Again, look for independent statements on this. So, for example, at the American University in Dubai, the Times Higher Education has us ranked among the top 150 universities in the world when it comes to employability. There are only 3 institutions in this part of the world that are listed in the top 150. 2 of them are in Saudi Arabia, and AUD is one of them. As I said, there's 3 institutions that are in the top 150 as listed by the Times Higher Education supplement in terms of employability. QS Rankings, which is another famous rankings agency, has ranked the American University in Dubai as #1 in the Middle East region for employability. How do these numbers come about? How do these surveys taken? They're basically taken by employers that have hired our graduates. They've gone to those employers and said, hey, you just recruited or you just hired Raj from the American University in Dubai who pursued a bachelor's degree in business. Speak to us about Raj. And it's along the lines of their readiness for work. Do they hit the ground running? Do they know their stuff? What's their attitude like? What kind of salaries they're earning? The escalation in the company as well. So it's not just a case of finding a job, but are you also prepared to move up? And are they ready for promotion and escalations as well? So these kind of things go into the results of this survey. Okay. I'll speak a little bit about life readiness now. So the first slides was just a little bit about the what's, and I chose AUD as an example of some of the achievements that this institution has. We're only 25 years young. We celebrate our 25th anniversary this September, but we've achieved a number of things in those 25 years that we're very proud of. Of course, in 30-40 minutes, I can't list them all for you, but I thought I would just mention a couple. So if your what's are your achievements, you've got to say the hows as well, because things just don't happen. There's a reason why you're #1 for employability. There's a reason why you have the most accreditations for an institution that's the size that we are. There's a reason why you have the most institutions the most accreditations in this region for a university this size. And those reasons are the hows. How do we get there? Let's talk a little bit about that. First of all, every one of our courses, every course that's taught at AUD, there is a component of soft skills in this, in each one of those courses. So, and I don't always like the term soft skills because it's a bit of a misnomer. Sometimes soft skills insinuates that these are sort of fluffy and kumbayas and kind of things, but it's anything but that. I probably would be more accurate if I refer to them as power skills. This is your empathy. This is your emotional intelligence. This is your problem solving. This is your critical thinking. This is your ability to be adaptable, be resourceful, think on your feet, be agile, all those kind of things. And I'll talk a little bit about how that happens in a second when I discuss the pedagogy and used in our programs, in our classrooms. The other thing with the American University in Dubai, and again, this is something you should look for in a university. We are where we are. We're in Dubai. We have, I believe, one of the best leaderships in the world, and a phrase that His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum uses is that the race to excellence has no finishing line. And in the same way, learning has no finishing line, right? The minute we instill this in all our students and all our graduates, the minute you think you know everything, so once you've earned your high school diploma, you think you know everything, or once you've earned your bachelor's degree, you think you know everything, that's a really slippery slope to be on. Learning never stops. It's because, like, well, life never stops teaching you anything, but also if you look at how fast things are moving, the last thing organizations want today are people that go in and think that they know it all. Part of this soft skills, part of these power skills are the ability to work in teams, the ability to understand that I can still learn more, the ability to understand that someone else might know more than me. And please don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong if you've got a belief and you've got a feeling and you think you're right about something. There's nothing wrong with sticking with your belief and saying, no, I'm certain about this. The research shows this. I've done the experiments and et cetera, and to me, this is the right way to go. Having soft skills and this lifelong learning philosophy is that you've also got to recognize that sometimes there's other information that comes along, and you've got to have the humility and lose the ego and say, well, you know what? I think I knew that this is the way this was going, and I was quite firm in my belief. But having now seen this other bit of information, that changes things. There's nothing wrong with recognizing that. Absolutely nothing wrong. But nothing wrong with sticking with your guns, but also recognize there might be different ways of doing things. And that's something that we really sort of blessed to be able to do in our classrooms. And I'll tell you a little funny little story, if you don't mind. It's to do with Google. And this was about 10, 12 years ago. The Vice President of Human Resources at Google, at the time, a gentleman by the name of Laszlo Bock, he was being interviewed for a human resources journal. And the interviewer asked Laszlo, and he said, you know, Laszlo, you at Google are really lucky. You have the cream of the Ivy League graduates, and you know what I mean by the Ivy Leagues, the Stanfords, the Columbias, the Harvards, and what have you. You have the cream of these Ivy League schools, the graduates of these schools with a 4.0 GPAs, they're queuing up to work for Google. So you're really lucky because you get first choice if you want them or not. And Laszlo turned around and said, you know, with all due respect, we don't just hire 4.0 GPAs. And the interviewer almost fell off his chair. So this is 10, 12 years ago. I mean, a lot has happened since then. But he almost fell off his chair and he says, well, what do you mean you don't hire 4.0 GPAs? You know, that's the top kind of people coming out of universities. Surely that's the first choice you have. And Laszlo said, look, I want to tell you some of the research we've done and some of the findings that we've had. Please don't get me wrong, and students that are on this call, please don't run home and say to mommy and daddy that Raj at the American University in Dubai said it's okay not to be a 4.0. That's not what I'm saying, but here's what I'm saying in the context that Laszlo said it. Look, if you're doing something that's a hard skill, if you're doing something like programming, software, you know, analytics or whatever that really requires a skill, and you need to be really good at that skill, a 4.0 GPA won't hurt you. But he said, you know, at Google, things happen in real time. We make decisions in real time. And what we found was we tend to take consensus. We have teams of 5, 6 people, and we reach consensus pretty quick. What we were finding is when we have these 4.0 GPAs in these teams, first of all, if something went wrong, it was always someone else's fault. And secondly, if someone had an opinion that was different to the 4.0 GPA's opinion, there was a lot of resistance in that, you know, you're trying to tell me I'm wrong. And look, this is somebody that probably has never had anyone say that to them before. And Laszlo just said, look, you know, at Google, we haven't got time to explain that necessarily. You know, you should be able to see that there's other ways of thinking other than yourself. So a bit of context to that. So please, again, Kapoor is not saying it's okay not to get a 4.0. I'm just saying that, you know, have the 4.0, but also have the humility and the soft skills to go with that. Again, when you're choosing a university, look at the environment in which you're joining. For a lot of people, we want to go to an institution where everyone's like us, and fair enough, that might be your choice. If you choose a place like the American University in Dubai, you're going to be joining an institution that has a huge amount of diversity, 110 different nationalities. And I know you're thinking there, sitting there thinking, well, it's not just nationality that makes up diversity. Absolutely, it's not. But within these 110 different nationalities, you've got people that perhaps came to AUD straight from high school. So they're 17, 18. Perhaps you've got somebody that had to do it because they came from a non-English speaking school, had to finish a year or two of intensive English before they started a degree program. So they could be 19, 20. You could have somebody that didn't have the opportunity to pursue a degree program when they were 17, 18, had to go out and work or get married and start a family. And now they're 29, 30, and they're coming back to pursue a bachelor's degree. You could have somebody that's working 2 jobs to pay their fees and then come to class. You could have somebody that's born in a palace and is chauffeur driven in a Rolls Royce that comes to class as well. So diversity is just not nationality. So imagine you're in a room, you're in a classroom where we encourage collaboration. You're in a team, 5, 6 students, one's from Jordan, one's from Egypt, one's from Syria, one's from the UK. One's 17, 18, one's 20, 21, one's married and has a child, one's working 2 jobs. Imagine the creativity, imagine the ideas, imagine what it does for you in terms of your growth. Imagine what it does in terms of your thinking. You may not agree with everything, but there's a way that you have to disagree with things. You're naturally taught humility, respect, how to bring your thoughts forward in a pragmatic, yet what's the word I'm looking for? Respectful way. We're diverse, we're also inclusive. This is something that's very close to my heart. It's not just about diversity, it's about inclusivity. At AUD, we have students from all walks of backgrounds. Again, you know, when you're choosing your university, this might be something that's important to you. What can I talk to you about here in inclusivity? Why is this close to my heart? I'll give you an example. My son has autism, and he went through school here in the UAE thinking that he was stupid because he couldn't get things that the teacher was saying. Friends didn't get him. He was always the odd one. He was picked on in school. Today, he's a little bit older. He's running his own business. He's super successful. Richard Branson had dyslexia. When he was a child in school, he was told on several times that he will never make it. One of his headmasters actually told him that you'll be in prison by the time you're 21, 22. and then that'll be the rest of your life. Just 8 months ago, 9 months ago, I saw an ad in a human resources journal. It was picked specifically, and there was an article about it. KPMG, one of our big four consultancy firms, ran a recruitment ad. We're looking for people with dyslexia. And kind of caught my eye, and I'm thinking, yeah, why? And of course, later on it said, well, it's because people with dyslexia see things others don't see. And who better to have on your team than someone like that who can see things that others don't see in terms of this world of innovation, creativity, where unless you keep innovating and do things differently to everyone else, you're not going to survive. So what am I getting at? Basically at AUD, we have students with autism, we have students with ADHD, we have students with dyslexia, and this is something that's very private between the student and the faculty member. There's a process that we go through. There's a nurse on campus that writes to the faculty member and says, hey, Raj has ADHD. He will require an extra hour when we're doing the exams. Or Raj has ADHD, he's very shy, please don't pick on him and when you're asking a question in class. It'll not go down very well. It's not something that the faculty member, the professor yells out in class. It's somewhere where the faculty member will meet with Raj separately. Hey, we got the exam coming up next week. I know you need an extra hour. Do you want me to arrange for you to be in another room? I know I'm not going to pick on you in class. So these are not unfair things. These are reasonable accommodations based on a person's needs. And you know what? This is not someone who haven't got talents. These people have serious talents, and they're going to be super successful. And having this kind of diversity and inclusivity, I can tell you, makes AUD a much better place. In the American system, as I'm sure some of you are well aware, yes, the classroom experience is really important, but almost as important is everything that goes on outside the classroom. So again, when you're choosing a university, look at that. How engaging is it? In the American University of Dubai, for example, we've got beautiful facilities: soccer pitch, running track, swimming pool, volleyball courts, basketball courts, an indoor arena, swimming pool, obviously varsity teams in all these sports. There are also 24 clubs, from a drama club to a chess club to a cultural club, a collegiate club, an Indian cultural club, a Pakistani cultural club, etc., an Egyptian cultural club. And you don't have to be Egyptian to be in the Egyptian cultural club. We really welcome diversity within these clubs. But the reason we have these, and it's so important to us, because we feel the more connected a student is outside the classroom, the more likely they're going to succeed in the classroom. You feel part of the place, you feel engaged, you feel this is somewhere where you belong. And when you do that, naturally it gives you confidence in the classroom too. And that's a huge component of university life here. And if that's important to you, that's something you want to look at as well when you're choosing your university. To support the Student Affairs Department, we also have a huge careers department. We encourage every student to do an internship while they're pursuing their degrees. We always do this in the senior year, which is your last year, your fourth year, simply because a lot of the places that we send our students to as interns, those companies end up hiring those students, and most companies will wait 3-6 months while you're finishing off your degree before you join them full time. If we send you in your freshman or your sophomore year, it's hard for them to wait for a couple of years or 3 years for you to graduate. So we always do the internship in the senior year. Speak a little bit about our pedagogy. So this is the way we teach. This is as I mentioned earlier, this is not the professor writing stuff on the board and asking you to copy it, and then we're going to ask you the same question in the exam. If you're looking for a university like that, this one is not it. This is a place where you're not going to be asked what Maslow's theory of motivation is, and you have to draw the triangle and then the 5 layers and say, you know, this is level 1, this is level 2, and until you get level 1, you're not going to be ready for that. That's never going to come up in an exam. What's more likely to happen is you have a motivation problem, your team are not working, they're not performing, there's not efficiency, there's no effectiveness. What are you going to do about it? You know, that's very much more of the kind of pedagogy you're going to have at the American University Inspire. And then again, if this is important to you, these are some of the questions you should be asking of the institution that you're thinking of joining. What does the classroom look like? What is a typical plan for a lecture? Teamwork is a huge part of it, because that's what employers want today. Look at our current environment. You know, 3 months ago, we never thought we'd be in the situation where there's 6 people in my team, 5 are working from home, 1's in the office. Who would have thought that? But you've got to have that resilience, you've got to have that flexibility, you've got to have that adaptability, and yet still perform. Have my KPIs been reduced? Have what the organizations are asked of me and you know, what's required of me in terms of my key performance indicators, has anything changed because of this pandemic? Absolutely not. But you've got to learn to be able to sort it out, right? What can I say about our faculty? Oh, I truly believe we have some of the best faculty in this region. I'm not just saying that because they're my colleagues, but I love this saying: you can pay faculty to teach, but you can't pay them to care. And truly, for a university, I've seen universities where there's 200-300 people in a lecture. That, first of all, that's not us. Our design classes are much more 10-15 students. Our business courses are 25-30 students. It's the professor himself or herself that takes classes. We don't have a teaching assistant or a graduate assistant that takes the classes. So it's the professor themselves. Each one of our professors is terminally qualified. They have a doctorate in the program in which they're teaching. So if you're taking a marketing course, it's someone with a PhD in marketing. It's not just the PhD in marketing, they're also conducting research. So innovative things and looking at new ways of doing things. They also have practical experience. They're either consulting or they run their own businesses as well. You can pay a faculty member to teach, but you can't pay them to care. Each one of our faculty members, as well as being in the classroom with you, they each hold 10 office hours of office time. So perhaps you were writing something in class, or you were distracted, or you were shy to put up your hand to ask a question because you had a doubt about something, and the moment has gone. You've got 10 hours in the week where you can meet the faculty member face to face in his or her own office. Okay, Lena, I'm going to take a quick temperature check. Any questions, or we're good?
Yeah, absolutely. Does anyone have any questions? Please feel free to ask them. It's a small group, so it's up to you if you want to unmute or type your question in chat. Thank you so much, Raj, for a very informative presentation.
Not at all. It's an honor for me to be on here. So if there's no questions, we'll continue. Again, how connected to the community is? Oh, did I hear a question? Okay. Yeah. How connected to the community is the university that you're going to be joining? I think I mentioned at the beginning, we've got a great relationship with GEMS. One of your students, he'll probably get embarrassed if I mention him, but a really amazing young man. He's been here for a while, but his roots are in Ghana, and this young man came to us for help with initially for some research and guidance. He saw a problem in Ghana where hospitals were conducting surgery, and in the middle of the surgery, while the surgeon's operating on a patient, the electricity would cut out because the electricity wasn't reliable to last for the length of the surgery. So this young man, through himself and his brother, had the initiative that I want to raise money and do something about this. What did he do? He started selling t-shirts, raised enough money, and then got to the point where he could now afford to buy solar panels. He wanted to buy these solar panels so that he could have them in hospitals, so they didn't even have to rely on the electricity that the government was supplying, but rather have their own electricity through solar panels. He needed some help and guidance, etc., and he's working with one of our faculty members on this, who's helping him. And now he's also got a grant from the government in Ghana, so hopefully he's going to get some more panels installed for other hospitals. So the fact that the electricity cuts out won't be an issue, because the hospitals will have these solar panels where they can continue to complete the operation, where the surgeons can complete the operation without the electricity cutting out. It's an incredible story. Obviously, this young man, tried to get some help in schools, and you can imagine teachers are teaching 30 hours. There's so much that they can help with, and then if you come to a university, you've got professors who maybe have that slightly higher level of knowledge, know-how, have more networks, if you like, have some time when they can assist as well. So these are some of the things that we're engaging with students from GEMS on. And not just GEMS, we're doing it with other schools as well. That kind of things with the community. You don't have to be at AUD to do this. If anyone's interested and wants help with any projects, we're here to assist. If our faculty can help you, they'd love to. We're also collaborating on research papers as well, with some students from schools as well. So, and if you've got a really great idea and you want some help on it, we've got the expertise here, we'd love to engage with you. Just one other thing on connection to the community is, I don't know if some of you have heard, but true story, that we've got wonderful leadership here. His Highness recognizes that Dubai is on the map when it comes to tourism. We've got great hotels. We've built our tourism industry. It's also recognized for being a great place to do business. Transparent policies, very clear, no tax. It's also traditionally been a great place for oil and gas. However, His Highness also wants to put education on the map. He wants people to come here. He wants students to come here, just like they do to the US and Canada and the UK and India. He wants students from abroad to come here, and he wants our education industry to thrive. In order to do this, you also must have jobs at the end of the 3-4 years that the student spends doing their degree program in the UAE. So we're working to build this. So one of the things he recognizes, through studies, he's recognized that by the year 2030, probably 60 to 70% of the jobs that exist in the format that they do today won't exist in 2030. Artificial intelligence, robots, in technology and what have you, is going to certainly, if not lose those jobs completely, is certainly going to change the way we do those jobs. So His Highness is saying, well, we're getting all these universities in. I mean, Dubai has the most sister campuses and branch campuses of any other place in the world, and we're such a small emirate. There's 42 branch campuses in Knowledge Village and Dubai Academic International City, which is an incredible number. So we just don't want to bring the students in and then have nothing for them to do, or have them looking for jobs and there's not enough jobs for them. So again, full chain. This is the way His Highness is the thought process is, I just don't want students to graduate from universities and look for jobs. I want universities not to graduate students, but to graduate companies. So the vision, Dubai Futures Foundation, the Executive Council, is how do we graduate businesses? How do we graduate companies instead of graduating students? So His Highness, and through the office, the Executive Council, appointed a handful of universities in this country, 2 or 3, I think at most. AUD is one of them, where he said, we want you to incorporate 2 courses in your curriculum. One is what we named Business 121, and one is Business 251. And this, you don't have to be a business major to do this. You could be engineering, you could be architecture, you could be interior design, visual communication, because let's face it, business people just don't come from a business major. And this is what these courses should be doing. In Business 1-to-1, you should be learning about design thinking, finding solutions to problems. And I've sat in one of these classes and I know the professor really well, and students go in here and will say, well, I don't know how to think. I don't know how do you do design thinking? And the professors really get it down to the simplest level. You came to university today, did you face any problems? And then suddenly a student sticks their hand up and says, well, oh, I take 11 o'clock classes because that's my best time to take classes. I feel that's, you know, it's not too early in the morning and it's not too late. But I also realize a lot of other people take classes at 11 o'clock. And when I go to look for a car park space in the car park, it's always full. And for 10, 15 minutes, I'm running around or driving around the car park, and it gives me a lot of stress and anxiety because it's making me late for class. Well, there's a problem, she says. What are you going to do about it? Well, the car park's full. What can I do? Well, there's hotels, there's businesses around here that have car parks. Have you thought about going to them and saying, can we have a valet service? What if you earn 5 dirhams for a day's parking? That's 5 dirhams you wouldn't have had. Just simple things like that, you know, where you just thought about creative ways of finding solutions. So you're thinking about design, design thinking here. You're taught design thinking. In this class as well, we partner with a lot of business people, entrepreneurs that come in and act as mentors, help you shape your thinking. I can tell you some of the success stories that have come out of this class so far, out of this course so far. We have a young man who hails from Central Africa, and he saw that there's a lot of talent in Central Africa. There's specifically artistic talent. He knows of one particular person that is making art, I don't know what to call them, art materials or things, artistic things from recycled materials, paintings, things, etc. And he is not getting the value of his hard work and the amount of effort, and really, these are really fantastic looking pieces, because people in Central Africa, which is as much as he can expose his artistic work to, won't give him the prices that they're really worth or should be worth. So Aziz, the student that's at AUD, said, you know what, I want a platform where I can showcase this fantastic artist's work, and he can get the true value of what it is that he's doing. So a mentor came in, an entrepreneur came in from industry, worked with Aziz. What we've done with Aziz has come up with a platform where the artwork of this gentleman that's making this work in Central Africa through recyclable sustainable materials is put on a platform. It's showcased to anywhere in the world, and people are paying prices that are conducive of the work. Aziz is collecting the money through blockchain technology, keeping his cut, and sending the money that the artist really deserves for the work that he's doing. So just something like that. We've also got another group that this group got a $20,000 grant from the small and medium enterprises of the Dubai Futures Foundation here in the UAE. As a motorcyclist, you know you're very close to the road. If you have an accident, it's almost fatal. Almost all the time, it's fatal. In a car, when you have an accident, yes, it could be fatal, but you've got a lot of protection, including an airbag. So what this group has done, they've invented a vest that acts as an airbag on impact. And not only does it act as an airbag, but it also acts as a cooler. So if you have an accident on a motorcycle, the airbag blows up. It acts as a protection, and you could be lying in the heat 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, waiting for an ambulance or help to come. And there's also coolant in this that might help keep the person alive that's had the impact. These are some of the things that are going on in our classrooms at the 1-to-1 level. The idea now being, and taking His Highness's vision, at 251, this business idea is actually taken and become a business. So when people like Aziz and this group that's coming up with this vest, when they graduate from AUD, they're not graduating as students looking for jobs. They're graduating businesses, and they go out and recruit people as opposed to looking for jobs themselves. So just some of the some of the things again that is great that we do here, but also some of the things that if you're looking for something like that, that's some of the questions you could be asking the universities that you're thinking of joining. Okay, I think if you look into the future, you know, I asked this question of you earlier. Ask the students, I mean, ask the university where are their students now? What's happening to graduates? If you ask that of AUD, they're working at places like Nestle, Schlumberger, Procter & Gamble, KPMG, Cisco. A lot of our students go on to do master's degrees and PhDs at London Business School, London School of Economics, MIT, and more. I don't know if any of you have been on our campus, but when you're allowed, I think it's a beautiful campus, 1.4 million square feet, purpose-built, vibrant, and just a beautiful, safe place to be. If you've enjoyed this, or if you have any other questions, please let me know. I thank you ever so much for your time and for engaging with me. I also say, look, if you have any other questions, that's our website. There's a link for get in touch, and you can request a call from us. You can request a call by Skype, a telephone call, a WhatsApp message, a Zoom call, any way you like. I'll hand it back to Lena. I think we're right on time. We've got about 3-4 minutes for questions.
Yes.
If you haven't.
Thank you so much, Raj. That was amazing. And thank you, everybody. If you have any questions, feel free to email or contact AUD directly. They're very, very strong partners with My Path to Uni and UniConnect. And also feel free to contact us online through the inquiry button on My Path to Uni, and we will address all your inquiries as soon as possible in a timely fashion. Thank you so much. Thank you, Raj. Have a good day. Stay healthy and safe.
Thank you so much, Lena. Thank you all the students that were here. Really appreciate your time. And again, my job is not to say AUD, but if you need any advice on any university or anything that you're thinking about, it'd be an honor to help if I can.
Wonderful. Thank you. Take care, everyone. Bye, Raj. Stay healthy and safe. Bye.
Bye.